The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. As always, we meet at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
I have regaled everyone about one of my favorite songs of all time, 1975. What was it? Take Me Down. I'm Going Down for the Last Time. The reason I remember that is, of course, the album art and the name of the band, which was Head East. But, of course, the name of the album, Flat as a Pancake. And pretty much what we have now. Looks like a lot of waiting for the Fed at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, at least somewhat. Options roll over today and tomorrow, so we should expect more up and down in a fairly narrow range. But the real question is, how does the market react if we get 1% on Wednesday, which a lot of people think is fairly high odds at this point. So that is one thing we've got on our plates. Other things, the housing mortgage index fell from 49 to 46 today. Anything less than 50 is Hindenburg territory, pretty bad. As we said, the Fed was on Wednesday. And in tech news, what was it? Coin off about 9% today, as we see Bitcoin and some others break below the 20,000 level. Looks like this is going down for the last time. Boy, I wish I could play that song and not YouTube Buddhists. But I do digress. Anyway, Ethereum was probably the most interesting part of what was going on, mostly because for the last, I'm going to say 60, 90 days, everybody is telling us, had been telling us that Ethereum was going to $1 billion per coin or whatever, mostly on them changing, going from proof of stake from calculating lots of numbers to having huge amounts of hard drive space. The idea was to make that change so that we weren't just turning electricity into Bitcoin or Ethereum. But you know what? When everybody knows about something, is there anything ever there? Makes me throw back to the 1999-2000 New Year's Day, where everybody predicted doom and gloom as the Y2K bug was going to blow everything up. Planes were going to fall from the skies. Dogs and cats were going to live together. Real wrath of God stuff. And, of course, next to nothing happened because everybody talked about it for the entire year like we were waiting for a meteor to hit the planet. If everybody knows about it, it's probably priced in. So there's not a lot new there. What do I want to do? Do a little history, and then we'll get into charts in the next segment. Still got 5 minutes. Let's do that. And I'll do some history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
There was a big, I'm going to say, earth-shattering ruling out of the Fifth Circuit on what laws everybody is going to have to follow in the near future for social networks. But one of the things that happened early on, I was part of I'm going to say early 90s, I could just see it happening. I knew it was going to happen, and I'd already read about it before with the invention of the telegraph, But there was a new organization, and Wozniak was part of it. I actually threw some money at it. Even though I didn't have a lot of cash at the time, I threw some money at the organization. Their whole point of the matter was to keep a free and open internet. Since then, they've all been co-opted, so I don't donate any money to that organization anymore. But we all knew it was going to happen. We all grew up reading 1984. Anybody in technology knew that it was going to be bastardized and used for evil. But in 1850, a law was passed. That was because 13 years earlier, the telegraph was invented. New York had to pass a law within 13 years of the telegraph being invented. And what? Well, because the owners of the telegraph were using it for evil, both political and otherwise. And it ended up being a big case known as Western Union versus the Associated Press. But this wasn't the first, we think everything is brand new. Everything's already happened and probably happened many times before. But what Western Union would do, a variety of things, is if they didn't like your article or news, they just wouldn't transmit it. Sometimes they charge people at the Associated Press 10 times more to actually transmit it than a regular cable. There were all kinds of reasons for them to pull shenanigans, political and the other. They were very up on not sending a telegram if a senator or a congressman needed to go to Washington, D.C. to vote on something. So New York gets irked because a lot of the things were happening from Western Union were directly aimed at New York. They passed a law. That law in 1950 ended up being a bigger law, a federal law, in 1876 that really started what's known as the common carrier. And that means that you can't really discriminate because where people are, what they do, or what they believe. As long as they're not going to kill somebody, they're not threatening somebody, you pretty much got to let it lay. And of course, on Friday, we had a giant case decided by the circuit courts, and it's going to probably be decided before this time next year by the Supreme Court. My guess is that it is halfway on the way already there, even though it was just decided on Friday. And the reason is that a lot of people continue to try to invent all kinds of rights that aren't enumerated in the Constitution. And, we'll see that many of the folks in Silicon Valley are going to have to start acting just like Western Union did after this law in 1850 and 1876, and that is give everybody a even shake, even if they don't like their political views. We'll be back in a minute.
Of booming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve and a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we'll get back. As I said, Friday had the highest percentage of probably retail traders in 5 years, and we're making an assumption that they sold. That the markets are flat out here, not a great sign, but at the same time, we may have a temporary washout until the Fed on Wednesday. As we said, there's a ruling out of the Fifth Circuit that's headed to the Supreme Court. This is one very much like what I talked about before. Everybody told me I was all wet. There's a great deal of difference between circuit court and appellate court rulings. And generally you can tell whether or not there's some wiggle room in it. There is none in this. The folks like Meta, Musil, / Facebook, Twitter, and the rest, at least in Texas for its 12 million citizens, or 14, I can't remember now, will have to abide by it. It will go to the Supreme Court. We already know that there's 5 votes for it, so it's probably going to pass. Question is whether or not Sotomayor is one of the Supreme Court justices, has already leaned that way. She's got some libertarian views, and this is on one of them, and that is freedom of speech. The arguments, if you want to read them, I'll be glad to send you a link. But this is one of the bigger epic takedowns of all time of an argument. Probably the best quote in the whole thing is, you're saying you have an unenumerated right to censor, an enumerated right for free speech. And some of the other folks that I've seen that have been around and been lawyers for a while all think that some of the arguments probably should get an Academy Award for being delivered with a straight face in front of the judge, because they're literally so ludicrous. So probably the banning and the rest of it done in in Texas. It may take another year to get this actually implemented. But, well, we've got probably a little bit more free speech coming at us to a social media network near you. This actually probably makes these better, as they will have an excuse for not doing incredibly, I'd say for the most part, dumb stuff. But again, as I said earlier in the historical part of the show, every time we've had technology that's really advanced, it has been used, if it can be, against opposing parties and beliefs. Not surprising that this happened 170 years later, almost in the exact same way. And a bill or a law was passed pretty much doing the exact same thing. And every argument that I've heard when we brought this up over a year ago, that people said, you should just read this because it's one of the, like I said, most epic takedowns of the people who believe a lot of stuff that just ain't so. What else can you say? Anyway, maybe the best thing that could happen to these folks so they can pacify their employees who believe that they're not so much an employee of the company as a political arm or wing of it. But we shall see. Anyway, Meta, not much going on here. Pretty much like the rest of the rest of it. Twitter, the rest of them all pretty much going in. I have a feeling that from the questioning, this is pretty much already priced in to what's going on. But it may be one of those things that changes over time. The downside would be is if they want to continue to fight something that probably they will not win. Anyway, sideways action for the last 5 days for Twitter. I don't really keep up too much with the whole saga between them and Musk. I think a lot of people have wishful thinking that they're going to buy it, or he's going to buy it. But my guess is that, especially after the damning evidence last week about how many spies Twitter actually employs and knew that they employ them, may be tougher if they didn't disclose any of that stuff to get the cash out of Musk. I always thought that he was working to buy this thing at a lower price, and maybe he does one way. 877. So social media stocks will be more valuable. I think they will after they become cheaper. I think that when these guys quit fighting and have to apply the rules equally, I think these companies will all be better off. They've got half of the country mad at them now. Maybe part of that goes away when they can't treat somebody different because they have one bumper sticker on their car other than another. Bottom dropping out of the ES for the polar plunge. Did it really? Is there some news I did not see? It's down 10 points. It's just light and variable like the wind. Okay, other things we have going on in the market now. Tomorrow, NVIDIA has its big dog and pony for machine learning, and really they're the biggest company exploiting or making money directly from selling products for machine learning. And I had to sneeze for about 15 times. So that's it. So anyway, they have a dog and pony. I think it starts about 10 a.m. in the morning. I don't know if it's going to move NVIDIA. More important is some of their board partners, and not their board like they're, not excited. They make and buy parts from NVIDIA and then make their own circuit boards to go in PCs. Those are known as BOARD partners. Decided to pick up stakes and leave on Friday, actually on Thursday night, but it all hit pretty much during the day on Friday. So a lot of people are scratching their heads on that, thinking that maybe NVIDIA had gotten a little too heavy-handed with its partners. But if you have a company that gives up and 80% of their business is with you, you got to wonder. Anyway, NVIDIA just going sideways. New products being announced tomorrow. I don't know if in a vacuum, waiting for the Fed, if you could have some big movement out of it. But hey, there may weirder things have happened. Just keep an eye on it. You know that's going to have some probably fairly big news tomorrow with new products being rolled out. 877-927-6648.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we return, down just a little bit. What was it here? It's just so light. One of the big things is there's not much going on here. As I said, I'm not expecting a great deal. You could get some kind of Pearl Harbor event going on, but not much. Anyway, for volume, we're at the bottom of the hour already, and we only have 6 billion shares. So it's going to be an incredibly light day. This is the first day of options rollover. You get one more day tomorrow, and why this is probably the most important one is that takes us from options into Thanksgiving. So we've got a pretty good run here going. But we'll probably get a fairly good idea what the option market makers are looking for the risk reward. They tend to know a little bit more than us and where the bodies are buried. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But generally, that's not all worked out until on Wednesday. 877-927-6648, path at TFNN.com. And, of course, I called for LA trade tomorrow. I don't know. Yeah, I'll get that for you. Someone's asking for an email. And I'm trying to get it here. If I can actually do it correctly. There we go. Okay. Okay. Question in the den that I wanted to go back to. What do you think about Micron earnings coming up at the end of the month? Is it going to $44? I mean, we're right at support in the S&P at 38.50. The next move down takes you to about 37.48. So there isn't a great deal of support at any lower prices here over the next few days. If we break it, we're probably going to go like a rocket to 37.48. Higher, could you go to 4,000? You could. What's the thought that Powell is actually dovish going into it? My guess is he's going to do it. We're going to go 1%, and he's not going to do anything until after the elections. The elections, I think, today are about 50 days out, if I'm not mistaken, so that he can do the 1% and then wait and see what happens in 50 days and do something right after it. In the elections and try to stay out for the longest amount of time. Generally, they won't raise unless there's some kind of critical incident like we have now with runaway inflation. Regardless what some people say that it didn't go higher, that's kind of like saying your temperature is 103.5, but you know what? It didn't go any higher. Well, you're going to die if it stays 103.5. So why it didn't go any higher, it didn't go any lower, really speak of. So I think they're probably thinking that we've got a patient on the resuscitator, and we better make sure that they continue to breathe. But we need to get that inflation down, Mr. J. Powell. Anyway, question on Micron, 44 for earnings. You know, this company has a lot of new products. They're going to make huge amounts of money. There are the newer versions of these products. The problem is that we got to wait till probably November for them to come out. Question is whether investors are in a fire first, ask questions later environment, which I think you could say. As a chart measure right now, you did test the previous low on almost half the volume. I'm going to say 60%. And that is relatively low. My thought is that you probably have some support here. Maybe you get a bounce, but I don't think you want this thing closing any lower than 51.30 if you thought you wanted to be bullish on it. I think there's better stocks out here at the moment. We could just go sideways and burn up a lot of time between now and the end of September. But September is kind of like October in the Great Lakes, when you get the giant waves that happen because it's not that deep. It's 100, 200 feet deep. It's not like the ocean. And they build from one side to the other. And then you get a song that you can't get out of your head about the Edmund Fitzgerald. So be careful. There's always the chance that you may get that Gordon Lightfoot song stuck in your head, and it won't come out if everything goes to hell in a handbasket. I don't see a lot of signals one way or the other. As I said, the only good thing I see is it looks like retail traders threw their hands in on Friday. But other than that, I don't see a lot to say I want to be short or long either way. Okay. 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 Is the Fed lightning about? Yeah, they could be. Someone brought up in the Den one of the articles. I don't know if that's true. Right before I left, I think, for vacation, we did bring up that they'd actually thrown almost $5 billion. I think it was $4.6 billion into the market the week before I went for vacation. They didn't do anything again. So the question is, are they saying one thing and doing another? I think it's awful hard to find out because they're not going to tell us the truth. But that's it. Now, other questions. Anyway, on Micron, I wouldn't want it just hanging around here at the lows, because at highs and lows, stocks that just hang around at them tend to break through either support or resistance. At highs, you want it to sit on your hands. At lows, you want to be very fearful that they're just going to blow through, even with light volume. Now, you're probably going to get a bounce, and that's it. To me, I don't know how bullish they're going to be on the market call after earnings, but I think the risk reward is probably a whole lot better. As I said, a lot of DDR5 volume is going to start coming on. That's the newer version of memory. It's at least twice, if not more, faster than the existing DDR4 for computers. Now, sales probably going to be what they did before. Probably not. But on AMD, you're not going to have the option of buying DDR4 memory anymore. You're going to have to buy DDR5. And again, like I said, it's at least twice, if not 150% faster than existing memory. So it's well worth it, I think, to pay a little more. Memory is generally probably one of the slowest bottlenecks that you get in a PC. Now, if you're not buying a high-end PC, it probably doesn't matter as much. But as I said, the high-end chips, the newest versions out from AMD, only use a DDR5 memory. So I think the big thing is that the newer memory almost always has margins 2 or 3 times more than existing older memory like DDR4. So that's why I'd be long-term bullish, maybe short-term bearish on Micron. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we come back, it's just market's just flopping around like an almost dead fish on the dock. Not much going on anyway. Micron, NFLX. Question for Sam. We'll look at Amazon in a minute. We had some decent volume today. I know they had an upgrade. Doesn't seem like it did so much for them after a while. It's pretty quiet. I wrote an article in the Tech Insider today talking about a fairly long line of disastrous bombs that Hollywood's been throwing at these streamers and how bad they've been doing. There's a couple of good ones, but man, have they thrown some big money on flops. We already know from the tune-out times that we've talked about before just how bad Amazon's going to bite the Lord of the Rings reboot. What is it, The Power of the Ring or something like that? People didn't even get through 2 episodes before they started tuning it off. About the same for, what was it, the She-Hulk Attorney at Law or whatever. There's a handful of incredibly bad TV out there now that they spent huge amounts of money on. And, you got to wonder, it probably doesn't affect Amazon as much as it does Netflix and Disney, but I don't think any of them are doing well. And most of the product being turned out is highly substandard. After listening to months and months of why Disney was incredibly good, I heard some trash talk this morning when I turned on CNBC about the Disney. The only thing that makes me think it's probably going to go up a little bit in the near term. But they've done nothing but try to push it up off $90 with a lot of sweet talk that never really developed much of anything. The only good thing is you had some volume on Friday, but everything came out. You came into support. Today you don't have much volume. You got about 5, and you're at support. But I'm thinking a lot of these stocks look like they're ready to come back and retest the lows. I wonder how much of that's going to be ripping the Band-Aid off on Wednesday at 2 p.m. and then the tenor of Jay Powell as he talks from 2:30 to about 3:15 if normal. But you did gap down. You did have volume on Friday. But again, today, very, very thin trading on very light volume. And probably that's going to continue until people see what happens to Jay Powell at Wednesday at 2. Jimmy, I only turn it on to watch the ticker. I don't really listen to them too much. The problem is it takes a minute or so for me to find the mute button. But a lot of times I just want to know what these guys are pushing and do the opposite. That's pretty much it. It does. Someone said in Bloomberg does have a better ticker. But guess what? My cable company doesn't give me Bloomberg except on Roku TVs, where I get it. They want me to pay, I think, $25 to get Bloomberg, and the TV I have that I can see from my trading station has a cable box on it, and no Bloomberg TV. The one I have in my bedroom that I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and watch to get to watch the tickers on Bloomberg, I have to go to the Spectrum app on it and then go over to it, and then I see them talking about all kinds of stuff like yen and a lot of other stuff they don't talk about here in the United States much at all. But that's it. I just like Playboy, I'm just there for the ticker. So 877-927-6648. Oh, boy. How horrible today. Playboy had to sell its jet. No more Bunny Mobile. I heard that at lunch on the lunch news. Question about other things going on here. Can I take a look at Apple? Yes, we'll do that right now. Well, if it's on Apple TV, then it's not free, right? Or is it? You have to pay anything to get Apple? You had to pay twice as much for an iPhone? 10 times more for a TV? Don't know. Original Apple TV. I don't know. I've got a couple of Roku TVs and one with the cable box from Spectrum on it. I don't know why I have it. Maybe one of those things I should just take back. Free on Prime? Really? Probably their app. Well, I'm going to have to look at that. Thanks. Did not know about it. Again, generally in the morning when I'm getting up and I can barely see because the dogs have woke up and jumped on me at 2:30 in the morning, or I'm up at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning getting started. It takes maybe about 15 minutes for these old eyes to start to focus. Anyway, on Apple, you just have a kind of a almost a engulfing candle today, but again, I don't see anything going on here with a lot of volume. 54 million shares so far today compared to 162 million shares on Friday. So a lot of hurry up and wait. Question about Tesla from Ron, which we'll go to. Yeah, I've got Interactive Brokers. Somebody says it's free in E-Trade Pro. Okay. Tesla. What do you have here? You got at least a little bit higher. It's just kind of hanging out here around this $300 level. And, of course, what a miracle that it closed just slightly above 300, but not enough to make the cash back on the puts or calls, probably only $3 above that. So I don't see much in that. Waste, is this Waste WSM? Oh, Williams Sonoma. We'll take a quick look at that. Yeah, you're down a little bit. I did bring up that the housing index was down fairly strongly this morning. Why don't we get my list of houses for those at home builders? We'll take them real quick. Okay, actually not bad. A lot of times these home builders tend to bottom out on bad news because everybody thinks it's all in. Not me. Hovenian, the strongest of the bunch out here today, up 3%. But again, fairly light volume, which you don't want to see these things at lows bouncing with light volume. Only have 43,000 shares compared to the 83,000 you had on Friday. We'll go back and look at a few more of these housing stocks to wrap up the show.
Vista Gold owns and operates the largest undeveloped gold project in Australia, the Mount Todd Gold Project. Vista Gold just completed their feasibility study, resulting in a 7 million ounce gold reserve. Vista Gold has all major permits approved and has retained CIBC capital market assistance in evaluating alternatives and in completing an accretive transaction. Vista Gold trades on the NYSE American and TSX under the ticker symbol VGZ. Vista Gold, executing a strategy to create shareholder value.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we get ready to wrap up the show, we got a market, as I said, just probably holding its breath, waiting for that. We were going to look at a couple more stocks in the housing sector. A lot of times you find housing bottoming on bad news. I think short covering would be a way to do it. What you don't like is this very light volume pop today. So 1.7 million shares in Lennar. That was compared to the 5.3 million shares on Friday. So even the low was almost 4 million shares on the 14th. So you've got a light volume pop. What you really have at these stocks at the lows, the old saying is that stocks don't crash at highs, they crash at lows. And the reason is you get some kind of horrible price, and then it gets even more and more worse. And you got a lot of people out there that just will get out at any price. So you do have a tendency to see price runs if you get extremely bad news. I don't think the risk reward is there, but that's me at the moment. Pulte, which is PHM, right? HM as we look at it. You got a little bounce on it too. Lots of volume on the 14th, 6.3 million shares today. You're up on 1.7. So certainly there's nothing here to say that we've got some kind of giant sell-off that everybody's racing to buy now. Maybe just that the market didn't implode this morning was enough to get some short covering out of the market. What you really want to see or avoid, let me put it this way, is some kind of dramatic gap down that, as they say, breaks through ice or jumps the creek, and that is support just a little bit lower. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.